you're going to buy a franchise or start any business, go see if you can shadow someone that does that today.
So that's where Rick went wrong, because he actually bought a franchise, and in his genius moment, he hired me to run it.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories unfold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, pawn after dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Today we have a very special guest. We have Bill Walsh. How you doing today?
Blessed, brother. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You're quite the financial wizard here, aren't you?
Well, I don't know, finance, more marketing and business growth and scaling. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you're going to run a business, Warren Buffett said, don't forget rule number 1, don't lose money. He said, don't forget rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1.
I think I'm going to need some help scaling up my Pokemon business.
I heard your Pokemon business is killing it.
You know, it's doing good. Pokemon is a huge IPO, which it's at a 5-year.
Pokemon is going public?
No, well, not. I mean, it's a huge
Brand?
Yeah, I forget what they call it. I don't know, but it's basically
It's almost like an industry, isn't it now?
It is an industry. Yeah, I mean, you would be impressed with Pokemon. I'm sure you.
I was impressed by your numbers.
Well, we're at the top of like a 5-year cycle for Pokemon. Yeah, so just like the stock market or anything else, it goes up and down. I get up every morning and I look at the pricing charts, and it looks just like a stock market chart.
How did you get into being a Pokemon expert?
I actually play the game. I started playing the game. I ran into some troubles in about 2015, got put on probation in 2016, and I just decided I needed to like kind of chill out and find something to do for a while, and I started playing Pokemon. I actually went down to the game shop, and I looked at the Pokemon crowd, and I looked at the Magic crowd, and I said, all right, I fit in with the Pokemon crowd. And it was that.
So there's a different crowd for different games.
Different strokes for different folks, Rick.
All right. Okay. Well, it's like your shoes.
Well, I would just say out of the three of us, you have the worst shoes. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
Okay. All right. First
Once
off,
you go Jordan, you don't go back.
Okay. Custom order Lucchese's.
Blah, 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 blah.
And those are?
Crocs.
I mean, I just think Crocs are lazy shoes.
I agree. So how did you get started in marketing?
Well, I started as a trader. So I traded currency in New York and Chicago, then did turnarounds for a decade. So we'd either take your company public, we'd close it or fix it. And 2000, my kids were 9, 7, and 2, and I was burnt out. And I wrote down there has to be more. And I took a step back and I figured, what was I great at? Chum, I was great. If you had an idea, I could help you raise the money, the teams, the systems, go to market. And I was really good at it. So I said, why not create products for all small business owners? And I teamed up as a marketing partner with GoDaddy, another company called Franklin Covey. Okay. And we began to sell a little business in a box product called Successfolio. And
so you said you wrote it down. Did you physically write it? Is this a thing you do?
I believe that when you write things, typing is one thing, but when you write it out, it somehow connects your mind with your heart and your soul, and it becomes more real. It's almost like you own it.
Yeah, I know like a lot of writers, like comedians and book writers and authors say that
they still write it.
They pen to paper, and then after they get it down, they'll type it out. But they say their brain kind of flew.
It's the same thing with me. I got to write it down. But also, I think it also has to do with where you fit in the world of like baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and stuff like that. I mean, because all the kids coming out of high school now, like even college graduates, they don't even know how to write in cursive.
They don't know how to write cursive. No, they have a hard time. They have a hard time. Well, they're like, what is cursive?
I got in an argument with my 4th grade teacher because she was like, you have to learn cursive. I was like, I really don't. She's like, no, you do. I said, my dad doesn't write in cursive. And she said, well, you're going to write in cursive your whole life. So, ha, 4th grade teacher.
So now you're all in.
Ha, Miss Jackson.
But if she could see you now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
How cool is that?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you have younger people who it's more intuitive to type a note on their phone than it is to write it down.
I'm so guilty of that too, Rick, though. I voice everything now. Mm-hmm. I don't think I type out any text message. I don't write much stuff. I voice everything, and then I say correct it. It makes it better. And then I say put it into notes and put it in my to-do list.
You're much more technical than me.
Well, I know, but most of it's all voice command now. You're going to see this new browser come out, this OpenAI browser. That's why there's so much money going into this stuff. But this browser, you'll be able to say, search for the top 50 restaurants in town, make all my reservations for the next year, make sure they're booked at this time each day. It'll literally do it all for you, and you've never touched the keystrokes.
So
That's
all
scary.
assistants are being
Scary.
fired.
Well, it's either you learn about AI and where it's going, or you wish you had learned about it.
I actually had felt myself this past week or so thinking that same thought. Like, it's time that I at least understand AI and learn how to use the most basic features of it.
I would tell you the best thing you can do is, we all know that YouTube is known for how-to videos, right? So there's so much free how to use this stuff. And if you just start to use the basics, the really raw basics, you'll get better every day. Before you know it, there's what's called conversational AI. So now you no longer have to type it. It'll talk right back to you. I can make an AI, we call a super dupe of both of you guys in 2 minutes. And within 2 hours, I have you both speaking 20 languages. And you can do a whole training on Pokemon. In the future, I tell everyone, get your name.ai or get your name AI.com. Because in the future, when they call your office to talk to Rick, you can say you can pay per minute to talk to Rick's AI. It's not even Rick, but they're still getting Rick in his general form. It looks like him. It speaks like him.
That is just so
Scary.
scary.
I'd actually pay not to talk to Rick, but that's just my...
Well, no, I mean, it's just like, what was that one movie with a robot?
iRobot, which is
iRobot.
really scary now. I
'Cause
watched
now it
a
looks
couple
like
weeks
it now.
ago. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you're basically going to have human beings doing nothing. And like my grandma said, idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Well, I think human beings will become more creative. What do you think about that?
No, I think they'll become more lazy and do bad shit.
I think part of it is that you've got a double-edged sword, right? And he's right that when people really don't find purpose, they find bad things to do. You know, and
People are sitting around bored. They're going to sit on their phone all day long and look at fucking stupid videos and drink too much and do whatever. I mean, like, no, people got to have a purpose in life. And basically, we're getting to the point where we have no goddamn purpose because a computer and a robot and
I mean, that's just dinosaur talk.
Well,
I think that...
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. We've been training. We have a business course called Rainmaker for the last 20 years.
Okay.
It's evolved from, it used to be write your plan, write your marketing strategy, build your team, go to market. But so much of it's changed. You know, you're not just trying to find a team anymore. Your team is no longer within 7 to 10 miles of your radius. Your team is all over the world. You know, we train speakers. We do events in Dubai. We do events all over the United States. And I'm telling you, the speed of business today is moving faster than it's ever moved. And the edge is for the small business. The entrepreneur actually has the edge over these big companies. They can't move that fast.
Yeah, but not only do you have the business in a box, but you also have podcast mansions.
Yeah.
You have a franchise expo.
Yes.
You have like a ton of different businesses.
Yes. But they've all come from, we created a business course that was designed to train you how to launch, grow, build, scale a business. We used it as a way to find companies to invest in.
Now, when you
So
say
think about-
we, do you
so
have
my
a team?
company's called Powerteam International.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have a big staff and a big team that's worldwide that is focused on helping entrepreneurs and business owners grow. You know, and a lot of times what happens, you start a business, don't know what to do. How do you write your grant? How do you write your book? How do you get on TV? How do you get on media? How do you know how to have the right things to say? And these are the things that most people are never trained on, how to connect and do deals with millionaires. How do you get in the right room? See, we teach that you belong in every room. So go to more charity events. Get involved with more events where you can support someone else's success. If you're not in the right rooms, it's hard to get the right access.
Yeah, I think that's my big problem. Rick is a master of that. He's always in the right room. I never even go to the room.
But the room comes to you.
The room does come to me at times, but I'm not out there in as many rooms as I should be in.
But you are. You're on social media every day. You just said. We were talking earlier. You're on video almost every. You do these eBay videos, these other videos. So you may not be in the physical room that he's in, but you're in a digital room.
And the digital room, I feel like, is where it's moving, right? I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I'm also not old, right? I'm like right in the middle, 42. But
I would pay
in
millions
20
of
more
dollars to be
years,
42 again.
Right,
just so-
exactly.
in 20 more years, like, how digital is the world going to be? You know, is everyone going to be living in these chat rooms? Like, I personally think that most shopping will be done online in 5 to 10 years in some type of live stream.
I agree. Why would you go to the grocery store anymore? You could
Well,
push a button and it just
here's
comes
the
right.
thing. Okay, I believe. Okay, first off, like there's going to be a physical place for shopping, okay?
Yeah.
Because not only is, I think like online shopping will do a lot more business. I think it
Yes.
really will. I mean, it will scale up. But still, there's certain things about going to the grocery store and smelling the fruit you're getting and looking at the meat you're getting. If when you go out and buy clothes, some people can buy them online, but I think it's a pain in the ass to buy them online because I get stuff and it looks, if you wait 2 days to get it, you get it, it doesn't fit. I mean, so certain things you still.
I agree.
And there's destination
I
shopping.
think boutique shopping's here to stay. Like the jacket you're wearing,
Yeah.
like the boots you're wearing, right? You're gonna love Hermes. You're gonna love specialty shops, but I think some of the generic shopping is gonna go to the wayside. People come to Pawn Stars shop. They come to the Gold and Silver Pawn Stars shop because of the experience. They love the experience here. It's great. They're and that's why I think when you create an experience versus just a transaction, we teach a lot of things that if you want to make money, focus on transactions.
Well,
you want to
it's
become
funny
wealthy,
you say that.
invest in relationships.
It's funny you say that because people always ask me, "Oh, I hear you're doing good selling Pokemon cards." I always say I don't sell Pokemon cards. That's the end experience. I
right.
sell an experience.
That's right.
And people come to buy their Pokemon cards from me because they enjoyed the experience. So maybe I'm not in all the right rooms, but I think I'm on the right
Pokemon
track.
cards because I show up on your whatnot.
Bam! Now the truth.
So
right?
is that something you teach people? Like, you got to create the right experience. the
You
right
do. I
environment?
believe that people will pay you money for a book or tape, but they'll pay you 10 times more for an experience. So think about, once again, some of the best hotels, some of the best marketing, some of the best cruises. They show you the result. They don't sell you the feature. They sell you the result. And that's the thing too, is that when people can feel the result, and your brand is not what they see when they meet you. Your brand is how they feel after you're gone. And this is the thing that when you think about the Pawn Stars experience, why is the store so much fun? Because the energy as soon as you walk in the door, you can feel the positive vibes, right? You see new cool stuff every time you come here. And people love to watch the show because they never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about when you come to my store, you can literally get everything from a Pokemon card to a Picasso.
Right. All in one location.
That should be a logo. Oh, that should be like a catchphrase.
From Pokemon to Picasso, all in one shop.
Yeah, we're just missing TVs and power tools. We're not that store
Oh, yeah,
anymore.
we're not that store
Well,
anymore. Yeah.
didn't it used to take up a lot of space?
Well, Rick's whole motto in it and now, and it's right. It's like we used to be able to pawn TVs because they didn't make a new one every 3 months.
Right.
Now, by the time, if someone comes and sells their TV and they don't pick it up, by the time they pick it up, there's 4 new models out.
For less money.
Yeah,
And they're bigger TVs.
and they're
product
better.
And they're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing with business. It's so hard. I mean, especially with anything retail that's like electronics or everything. The product cycle is ridiculous nowadays.
Right. Well, because look at the chip business, for example. Look at how compressed the chips have become and how powerful they become. And look at the money in chips. Look at the money in processing today.
And we're still at the beginning of it.
We're
You know,
just at the beginning of
it's
it.
all crazy. I mean, think of this. 18 years ago, which wasn't that long ago to me, okay, that's when the iPhone came out.
Right.
Like before that, people, and the iPhone when it first came out, it just sucked.
It did. Well, don't forget that up until the day it was made, the glass kept breaking. Had they not teamed up with Owens Corning, there'd be no iPhone today.
Yeah, and then there was, but the internet sucked on it. Now I mean,
You got a computer in your pocket.
You do.
And pretty soon that computer will be attached to all these AI sources.
It already is.
So-
It already is. I mean, think about it. Your phone is more powerful than the computers that landed a man on the moon.
So what would you what kind of advice would you give to someone to first implementing AI technology into their daily life? The average person who maybe, wants to become a little bit more successful.
Well, let's just take someone that's going to apply for a job. I'm going to get a job. I'm new out of college, right? I can actually have my resume written so it's geared towards that employer. I can say, make it written as if it's designed for this company doing this, this, and this. How would it make my resume better? Right? And now all of a sudden it'll keep changing. Now I want to make it geared to someone that's 30 to 45 years old that grew up in Delaware, because maybe I'm going to get a job in Delaware. It'll actually rewrite everything for you guys within seconds. So the thing is that I don't think that AI has even scratched the surface to the real power that it can bring, not just to homeowners, but to business owners.
well, I mean, have you ever read the book The Singularity by Kurzweil?
No,
Kurzweil,
but
he invented, you remember the synthesizers every
Yes.
band had them?
Ray Kurzweil?
Yeah, and he, he basically got became a billionaire by just basically, figuring out future trends. So like 20 years ago, he wrote this book, and end of the book, he was saying 2045. I think it's going to happen even sooner.
Right.
That computers would become so powerful, and AI and everything like that, that basically we would get to the point where computers can figure everything out. I mean, everything, like literally immortality, cure every disease.
You're
Figure
right.
everything out. Just literally go to a computer and say, make me a robot that, plows the field, plants the seeds, harvest the carrots.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I think that's where you kind of draw the line, right? I still don't see an AI bot that's going to maybe fix my car. Maybe that's going to do the body work or things like that, right?
You think there's one that can teach Rick how to dress properly? Although you do
Ouch.
look good today.
Ouch, man. I thought you said he looked good today. What's up
You
with
should have
that?
seen his outfit the other day. He had a
Well, first off, I
Whoa,
dressed
whoa.
myself today because Angie's out of town. All right. And, before I had my girlfriend and I go out on a date, I'd literally FaceTime with my daughters and they'd figure it out for me.
Get you lined
Because
up.
here's the problem.
well, maybe an AI can help you with
I
it
don't
now.
know about that because, I'm a kind of analytical guy. I understand mathematics, this, that, and the other, okay? Matching your clothes, okay? There's not a proper formula. There's not a mathematical
pretty
formula.
good.
I don't think there's
Jeans,
a mathematical
Jordans,
formula for it.
and a nice
There's
jacket.
something artistic about it, and I'm lacking that gene, okay? And I don't, because all the AI art I see, you can tell it's AI.
You can tell.
There's no soul in it.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but I don't think in the people growing up with this, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, did you think that a 5-year-old would be better at an iPad than you? I mean, are kids that are growing up now going to care?
I believe the future of AI when it comes to TV, media, movies, all video, all entertainment, is there's going to have to be a label that says this is not AI. Because I think the percentage of what is AI is going to be 90% plus. Only because of speed to market. I can now say, I can go to the Pawn Star, I can go to your website and I can say, make me a 2-minute video about this company. It'll literally make me a video in less than 5 minutes.
So what AI should I download to do this kind of stuff? Do I have
Well,
to pay,
I mean, there's a lot.
pay
The
prescription?
one
'Cause
that
I have
the
AI
one that I would
chat.
tell you, the free one that I would recommend is called Ask ROI. So AskROI.com. It's a great one to use. It gives you multiple chat GPTs inside of one system, but it keeps it siloed, which means that you have your own silo inside the cloud for your own data.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything you upload to ChatGPT goes to everybody.
Hold on. Okay. I'm like technologically dim sometimes. So we got the cloud, and now
Yep.
there's a silo.
There's
in
a
the cloud.
warehouse inside the cloud.
But I thought the cloud was like kind of a warehouse.
Well, that's the bigger warehouse. So
So the
think of
silo is like a prison?
That's right. So yeah, it could be a prison for your data.
Okay.
So think about something that keeps your data so nobody can get to. How about a safe is a better word?
A safe. All right.
Okay.
Well,
But it can still do all the search. It can make your videos. It can create your. It can even write code now. It could say, "Make me an app that does this." And believe it or not, these softwares can create the whole app for you. Now,
Yes.
someone's got to implement and test it. But in terms of writing the code and making it easy, it's literally a game changer.
So much for like a couple years ago. Everyone said, "Oh, you need to learn to write code. You need to learn to write code." Now,
Done.
hey,
No more writing code. The systems can write code faster and better and more efficient than any code writer that's
Yeah,
out
but
there.
like I said, it is scary because like didn't ChatGPT, when they were going to upgrade it to the new system, like it found out that they were going to kill it, and then it rewrote it. I
I've
was
heard
reading-
that. You're right.
It rewrote itself and put it on like a remote server
Just in
because,
case.
because it didn't want to die.
well, because preservation.
Well, that's a
Preserve.
movie. Isn't there a movie like that called?
Yeah, it's called Terminator.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a really
Skynet.
good book. Oh, what was the name of it? Something Chaos. It literally, basically, is a book about an AI taking over, dubbing itself.
I
all
don't
over.
ever think that AI replaces real relationships, though. I
No.
think we want to go
Well-
get a beer and get some tacos or something like that. That face to face is still, and this is where I think the downfalls. I think people are spending so much time on their computers and their FaceTime that they're missing the FaceTime with real people.
I mean, I don't think. See, I'm at a different kind of viewpoint of that than
Yeah.
you guys. You guys are a little bit older than me.
Yep.
And you guys are thinking it from your generational perspective, right? I'm kind of in the middle between you guys and the super young kids.
Yep.
These young kids, not only were they not raised like you, they weren't even raised like me. I was pretty much the last generation. I was born in '82. Like for a few more years, you played outside. You played with toys.
Right.
You know, Nintendo came out before like what 88, 89.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think there's a cutoff at 2006. The minute social media became full tilt, right? It literally has changed our teenagers. It's changed the interaction with kids. And I'm not saying it's good. I mean, I think suicide's up 300 to 400%, you know, in the last 20 years. And the fact that more people spend more screen time than they do FaceTime with real people.
yeah, and I think that kids are just becoming accustomed to that, right? Like, I'm sure you walk around outside and everyone's on FaceTime. They don't even call or text anymore. They're just talking on FaceTime.
So we do a thing when we go to dinner, and it's a really fun test that all of us go to dinner. We got to put our phones in the center. Whoever picks up the phone first pays the whole bill.
Okay.
Unless it's your kids.
I would win. I literally
You would leave your phone off?
I am so detached from my phone. Even it's kind of sucks business wise because I leave my ringer off. I don't. Sometimes I check it and I have 40 missed texts and I'll scroll through real fast. Important. I'll read it, reply, scroll through. Oh, I'm just gonna leave those other 39 unread. I just don't. I'm unaffected.
Well, you're not normal for your age.
Yeah. No, but
most people would be. They, you know, and it's fun when you see. It's scary when you go to a restaurant and you walk in and 8 people are having lunch and they're all on their phones. I'm like, are you texting each other? You know.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, and that's one of the things I think it's sort of screwing people up. You know,
I agree.
No, because like, I mean, we used to have a country of guys who built stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, like my daughter's old boyfriend. I mean, like he didn't know what a Phillips head screwdriver was.
Old boyfriend. You said old boyfriend.
Yeah. No, she's like, this is from years ago. I mean, but no, I mean, like these young kids, they don't want to learn how to work on cars. They don't want to learn how to drive. They just like
not at all. I mean, I remember I was 16 years old and I bought a car, and I used to race BMX bikes, right? And we drove to Cincinnati, Ohio from Chicago, and on the way back, the car spun a bearing. So at 16, I know nothing about cars other than the fact that it was getting me from A to Z, but it was like $3,000 to have the motor fixed. So I bought this thing called a Chilton's manual. And my dad and I literally took the whole motor apart in the garage, piece by piece. And I did 4 motors after that. But it was out of necessity. You know, I didn't really have a choice. It cost us probably $500 to fix the whole thing by taking the motor apart and fixing the garage. Of course, at the time, my mom was not a big fan of this because our garage was all tied up. But I learned something, and my dad and I had one of the greatest experiences ever. You know,
yeah, I mean, but like.
But today, there's no way.
No, they don't work on cars. They don't work on. It's like, yeah.
Well, they Uber. Why would they drive?
Uber's the thing.
Because it's free. I mean, because you get a car.
But a lot of these kids don't want a car, especially if they live in the cities. They don't want cars at all because the insurance, the cost of the car.
It is a.
I think there lies the problem is giant cities. Like these giant cities, sure, they're great, they're fun, they're beautiful, but it changes the culture on what a human should do to survive in a day-to-day activity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tell me about you have a franchise expo.
We do. So we sponsor an event called Fran Expo USA. Then we do business expos, we do money expos, we do business courses, speaker courses. But I do believe that what makes America great is really small business America. And that's why I've worked with and talked to the transitioning about creating grants for small business. I don't think they need grants for tax credits. They need grants to start businesses. We should get kids at 13 to 19 to start businesses. Teach them how to balance a checkbook, teach them how to start a business. These kids are brilliant. They're a lot smarter than a lot of their adults.
Well, no, I mean, like, because, you know, like, this is my son who went to private school, my youngest one. He's going like, literally, Dad, I come out of high school, okay, and all this grown-up stuff they didn't teach me. They didn't teach me about checkbooks. They didn't teach me about what a lease is or anything else like that. None of that stuff is taught to young people. And I think
that's
it's
a big
insane.
problem. Well, it's a surf economy. They want to keep you stupid.
Yeah.
Their goal has been keep people stupid.
Okay.
Thank God we've got a great new leader.
Well,
in the
that
office.
is one great thing about franchises. Is like it's basically a business in a box.
It is a true business in a box with actual real numbers.
Yeah, and you also you get a lot of training. You like literally
Yes.
if you get most franchises. I've seen some franchises that have been ran really really badly, but most franchises literally that they're all set up for like, hey, you used to be a postman, and
Right.
now you're going to be a business owner.
Yes.
This is what's going to be done.
And I think the thing is, before you buy a franchise, if you want to buy a Subway franchise, then go put the hat on for a while. Go make some sandwiches. See if that's something you even want to do. You know, I think whatever franchise you're going to buy, when I talk about businesses, what are you great at? Does it serve a lot of people? Is there money in the industry, and would you do it for free? Which means that you're really passionate about it. If you're not, then you're not going to make it. You're going to find a reason to fail.
So what kind of advice would you give someone if they think they have a good business idea?
Well, if you have a good business idea, first of all, is it proven already? Has someone already done it? If someone's already done it, you can do it better. If you want to pioneer something, you better budget 10 times the money. So think about, if I got this great new idea, it's going to do this, revolutionize this. Well, whatever your budget is, multiply it by 10.
And why would you suggest to exponentially, increase your budget by 10?
Well, because when you're trying to prove something first, it always takes longer than you think. Okay. But if someone's already, think about Burger King. When they chose all their locations for their spots, all they did was say, if there's a McDonald's there, we'll put a Burger King right next door. Because the McDonald's model was already what? It was already proven. Yeah. But if you're going to start your own business, and I think today is a great day to start businesses. Well, find a problem and solve it.
Yeah, it's basically if you came up with a new type of camera, and every photographer and camera operator, has their old stuff. They're like, no, I don't know about that. Yeah.
It just takes a while. That's all.
Time to convince everyone to use your new model.
And it's too easy to quit, chum. The reason most businesses fail is self-doubt. Yeah. Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And so once you believe you can't do it, you're going to find a reason to quit.
Yeah, I never quit. That's maybe like a weakness of mine is I just keep going, maybe too long sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there's a saying that says, if the horse is dead, dismount.
Yeah. He's never quit making fun of me.
Hey, the time's not right.
I think you guys should do your own comedy channel. I think it'd be fun to have you guys on stage somewhere. Just maybe come to one of our events and go on stage, have some fun.
It wouldn't be a comedy thing. It would just be Chum beating up on me.
Rick will not even engage with my verbal assault.
Wow.
No, because he's just too good at insults. Yeah, it really is. Just ask him. He'll come up with 5 insults. Come up with 5 insults about me.
Oh, it's not about that. This is about Bill. So, So what kind of schooling do you have?
I went to school. I went to high school, and I went to Loyola University for finance and economics. But I will tell you this, that I think I learned everything I learned by being around really smart people. When I was a kid, I got to race bikes, and I got to travel every weekend with entrepreneurs. My dad was an electrician. If he took a Saturday or Sunday off, it cost him a lot of money. But every weekend I'd be with families that were traveling to the bike racing and all of them owned businesses. They all were entrepreneurs.
I've always I think my best quality is I always heavily consider the advice of someone that knows more than me about something. Yeah. If you were to give me finance advice, when Rick was teaching me how to be a pawnbroker, when I first started making money and I didn't know how to save, I always listened to the people in the room that had been through that and had life experience.
I tell people all the time, I'm not a life coach. I'm not a fitness coach. I'm not a relationship coach. I can't cook at all. I can make reservations, but I'm a damn good business coach. So when you know what you know, stay in your lane. You'll make way more money staying in your lane and be great at what you do and serve well. If people ask you the secret to success, it's not about how much money you made. Ask yourself how many clients you served. You were telling me the number of clients you serve every day that's here. I said, my son has a software company called Mobex Pro that runs all of your, let's call it your mobile media, all your mobile media marketing, so you follow it forever. See, I think people still like to see their phone vibrate. They don't like to read emails, but they like to read texts. Most people will not ditch a text. Do you know what I mean? But they'll ditch emails all day long.
Yeah, I ditch them all.
So what I was saying is that if you don't build a database, if you look at the most successful brands, they only have one thing in common. They've all built something called active communities. So figure out ways to build a database where then you can serve up more stuff over time.
And what do you think the best way to get people to engage in this active community is? It social
free
media?
Gifts.
Is it free gifts?
Free gifts, videos, little short 1-minute videos. What's come really hot today, and that's why the podcast mansion is so hot, because people need to create something called power clips. They don't watch long form video. They watch those 18-second power clips, but they watch it over and over and over and over and over again. So you embed those with an embedded command. You embed those with a free gift. If you've ever been to a basketball game or a baseball game where they throw T-shirts out, and you'll watch adults knock a kid over for a $2 T-shirt. It's like, really? Do you really? The shirt doesn't even fit you, and you're still knocking some kid over. So online, it's no different. My son Austin is brilliant because he talks about when you engage people online, engage the same way you'd engage at a bar. You don't walk up and say, give me your name and give me your phone number and give me your social security number and tell me your home address. They'd think you're weird. But you say, you know what, here's a bit of information, now here's something for you, right? It's an easy give and take. So what I find is that the less data you try to capture in the initial connection, the more people are going to opt in or give you their information to get something of value from you. And what still people love today is fun videos. You know, once a month you'll get Chumlee's insults. You'll get these things as part of the package.
Unless you're Rick, you get them every day.
That's right, yeah. but they would log into that because they'd wait for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, people love to see things of value. In other words, it could be on Wednesdays at the shop, you get this. So any business that thinks they're slow on a certain day can begin to push out content. And here's the difference. Mobile has a 90% open rate versus email's 20%. Text message has a 30% click rate versus a 2% click rate. So if I'm looking to engage my client, I'm not trying to sell them things. I'm trying to give them good content. Whatever video that you have that goes viral, you share with the community. Any show that's been like a hot show, here's a 30-second clip from this one show. And so every Monday, something new comes out. The big thing with marketing is consistency.
Okay. All right. So speaking of marketing,
Yep.
what exactly is a podcast mansion?
So a podcast mansion was an idea that I had where I could buy these mansions and I could turn them into
Okay, we're
centers.
talking like mansion, multi-million-dollar
Yeah, like
houses.
6,000 to 10,000 square foot mansions where we could create 5 studios inside the mansion, and then you could come and shoot 5 hours of content a month for under $500. So imagine that you can walk in and create all your content. Then there's an app called Semble, which is free. You can literally slice that content up into 18-second sound bites that can go out to all your social channels. There's another app called InShot, which is great. And literally, I can take 1 hour of content, slice them to 18-second MP4 slices, and literally put it on all your social channels every day with less than 2 or 3 clicks. And so the mansion was a place where people could connect. We throw parties once a month. And at the party, it's just all about meeting new people, speak for 5 minutes. We bring in celebrities, have them interviewed at the mansion. But it's also, let's say you're traveling into Vegas, you're traveling into Miami, you're traveling to Dallas, and you want a place to do your meetings that day in a really fun environment. Well, now you can sit there and we've got 5 different sets. We have like a Fox television set, we have a seminar set, we have a board set, we have a kitchen set. So now whichever set you want to choose, you can come in and shoot your session there.
So with this service, you know, I get a place to record my content.
That's right.
Do you also offer the
Editing, everything if you want
you
that
offer
too.
the editing
We
and
offer
all
all
that.
that.
So you're
And
the
we
full
offer the
package.
push out. And we offer the AI conversion.
So you really are like a fully inclusive, you know,
One-stop
Studio,
shop.
one-stop shop for
studio,
your action, because most people are afraid to do it. They don't know how
Or
much
even
it's going to
understand how to
cost.
do it,
Well,
right?
about 90% of all podcasts never get past the second podcast.
Well,
They shoot 1 or 2 and they stop.
because
you know
most
what I'm
people
saying?
would not know how exactly. Even if you think you know, you got an iPhone, you think you know what you're doing, you don't
Right,
know what you're
you
doing.
don't, yeah.
And I would have no clue. I mean, but I know a lot of smart people, and I threw money at this. You know, and most people can't do that.
Right.
You know,
Well,
'cause-
they don't have your wherewithal, but they also, you start to realize, you know, in your business, community is everything.
Yeah.
Your clients come back over and over and over, that repeat customer, and they tell someone who tells someone else who tells someone else.
Yeah.
All video does is give you social proof. And when you get a video that gets 100,000 plays or 1 million plays, and there's a call to action, the mistake most people make in all the videos is never a call to action. So always have something, for this gift, text here, or for this gift, hit the QR code. If you notice President Trump, when he was on his campaign trail, he would use different keywords per state because he wanted to collect the data based on the audience where he was at. So it's the same thing here. Keyword relevance is important because you want to collect that data. So now you know, let's say you're going to be live in Detroit for something, right? You're going to go do a book signing somewhere. Wouldn't it be nice to push out a database to people that are all within a 25-mile radius with a 90% open rate?
yeah.
Sounds pretty
You're
valuable.
going to fill.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, because then your cost of marketing goes way down. If I own a restaurant, and most people come in, they eat, they leave, they eat, they leave, they eat, they leave. But if you're not capturing that data, most people that like something tell people about it.
So most
Referrals
people, I think of data being valuable to like these huge, massive companies, but it sounds like you're saying it's probably even more valuable to a small business.
100% is, because now you can cut your marketing cost by 70, 80%. If my client likes my restaurant or comes to your bar next door and they have a great experience, you want them to tell somebody about it. Well, the easiest way to tell them is from the mobile phone. But if you're trying to make them create your flyers and do the marketing, you're in fantasy land. But if they come through the door and they like it, and you make it easier for them to refer clients, they're going to tell someone else about it.
So how can I implement this strategy into my Pokemon business? Do I do it through my Instagram channel and
You
stuff?
can do everything you do should have an opt-in, so we can help you. We're setting one up right now. We're actually creating one right now where you can text the word stars to 26786. It'll dump them into a mobile database. It's all free gifts. It's all content. It's all special offers. And if you don't do it, you're crazy, because you would never see. These are exclusive offers they would never find somewhere else. So every time you go live on your eBays or anything you do in live, and you always want to have a call to action for a gift. Because what you're going to find is that client that doesn't buy today, we have people that come to our seminars and our workshops, come back 5 years later, 10 years later, and say, I watched you speak at this one time and I kept your stuff, but I keep getting your messages 10 years later. And so now I would like to take the business course, or I want to go to the speaker program.
And so is this call to action, is it like I pay for a service and they actually text a number?
They
or?
do, yeah.
Okay.
So the service is like $100 a month.
Okay.
And it runs your whole back
So
end.
they text, like they say, they text chum to the certain number.
That's right.
Okay, and then
Then your phone vibrates,
yeah.
and then it says, hey, if you want the free gift, just put your name and email in. Boom, and then you send them messages for the rest of their life.
Okay.
oh yeah, but you also have their cell phone number, so you can just they get a text message. So like literally you could put that up on like your socials. Then they text to the number, and then they get 10% off a Pokemon card.
That's right. See, if you go on your socials today and you post a link in there, they will shut you down. Go to Facebook right now, go to Instagram, say, come to my shop, here's my link, right? The minute you put the link in there, it shuts your link down that nobody sees your stuff, because they want you to buy a button called Boost This Post. But if you put the exact same post as, hey, we're having a great day today at the store, and we're going at 5 o'clock for drinks next door. If you want to come join us, you get a coupon for a free pizza, right? Just text pizza to this number. They don't shut down text opt-ins because it's not a hyperlink. Does that make sense? So now all of a sudden, once your post gets to 100 to 300 comments or likes or shares, it goes viral. So then you can put links in, but don't put links into stuff before you've actually given away a gift where they can text opt-in for something, or a QR code. You can even put QR codes inside your images, inside your videos. You can embed your videos with a QR code, so while they're sitting there, they can just scan the code.
Okay, so all right, I just want to go into this. So
Yep.
I was at your franchise convention.
Yep.
Okay, and you had like 150 different franchises
Yes.
there? Okay, so just say you hate your boss.
I can relate.
You got, yeah.
Ouch.
Okay, you got a few bucks saved up. You're like, honey, you got a good job. I hate my job. I'm going to try to go into business for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be like your top 5 franchises right now?
Well, I would always tell you that anything that's health related right now is really big. Men's health has gone through the roof in terms of, the demand for some of that stuff. I would tell you another franchise that sounds crazy, but they just opened up a crematorium for pets. Sounds crazy, but people care more about their pets than sometimes they do their spouse, right? It's crazy how this is. So there
I
are
care about my
business.
dog more than I care about some people. Yeah.
There you go, right? So you're going to make sure that your dog is taken care of in the afterlife. So now there's crematorium franchise you can buy.
Yeah,
But I would tell you guys, before you ever, and if you're listening, before you ever go to buy a franchise, go work there for a few days. Go put the hat on. Go see if it's something you even. Now it's different if you're going to buy multiple franchises. Now you're more the franchisor. You're more the person that. I had a friend who owned 40 McDonald's, but he started with 2, and he started by making the burgers, doing all the work. But that's not what he does anymore. So you got to really think about what is it that you could see yourself doing 3 to 5 years from now, because franchise, like any other business, it's work, and then you're married to that location. You might be there for a number of years, so you really want to go through the process. Howard Hughes, you ever seen the movie called Undercover Boss, the TV show?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so that came from a guy named Howard Hughes.
Okay.
He was the originator of Undercover Boss. People don't know this, but when he would go buy a company, he would go work at
We're
the
talking
bottom
about
level.
Howard Hughes, the billionaire.
That's right.
Okay.
The billionaire, before he would buy a company or invest in a company, he would go work at the lowest level. So for TWA, he would go handle your bags, because he wanted to learn the customer experience from the bottom up. And this is the same thing here today, is that if you're going to buy a franchise or start any business, go see if you can shadow someone that does that today.
So that's where Rick went wrong, because he actually bought a franchise, and in his genius moment, he hired me to run it. Never even
I
worked
had
there
a
one day.
Quiznos. Yeah.
Quiznos, yeah.
Yeah.
That's work.
It's work. Yeah.
Not for me, it wasn't.
Was it? What? So here's a good example, right? So, proven franchise. What was your biggest challenge in the franchise space?
I mean, it just sucked because we were in the lawyer district, so we were only open, 7-8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So, we had 1 hour rush.
Right, and then we were dead.
The biggest franchise the biggest obstacle was trying to push 100 people through there in an hour and still keep everybody happy.
So location. We used to own a bar in Chicago, right? And it was literally located. We never did marketing. We're the opposite of things that I teach, right? We never did marketing. We didn't even have a website. I think there was a sign out front. It was called Beer on Clark. That was the name of the place, Beer on Clark. We had a sign when you walked over. It said free beer tomorrow.
We were on Clark too.
There you go. Right. So free beer tomorrow. And the difference is that we were surrounded by people that like to drink every day.
Yeah.
So they would fall out of their place in Wrigley. We were 2 blocks from Wrigley Field. So they would fall out of their place and come to the bar. And our food wasn't great, right? The food was good. The service was great. And the beer was cold, right? So you're going to find that in a lot of businesses, you've got to be willing to pay extra for traffic because without it, you're dead. Now, if you're a destination location, I don't care where you put Pawn Stars and where you put the shop here, people are going to find you because it's world famous. Does that make sense? They're going to find a way to find you. But the fact that you are on the Vegas Strip makes a difference.
Well, I mean, originally before I had a TV show, that's why I was the first pawn shop on the Strip. I mean,
Right.
because
Do you know why it's world famous? Because Rick said so.
I thought you coined the world famous.
No, because Rick said so.
No,
He
for
was
years-
genius in marketing in that.
no, for
aspect.
years people ask me, why is it world famous? Because it's for us on television or anything. Because
I
it
said so.
Because it says so on the side of the building.
And that's perfect. but you know what that is? That's great marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it becomes memorable. So always think of things when it comes to your market. Keep it simple. Simple marketing. I mean, think of this tagline, just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Simple.
Diamonds are for how long?
Ever.
Forever. That's one of the greatest marketing lines ever. So the tagline you use should move people to the outcome they get when they work with your brand. And so keep it easy, simple, memorable, world famous. Well, it's world famous because Rick said so. Perfect. It doesn't matter. Rick coined it. It's done. It's real. And other people repeat it. And the more they repeat it, the more it becomes what? World
Memorable?
famous.
More world famous.
That's right.
Okay, so I guess you were on to your marketing before you even knew what marketing was.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I also used
Can
to
you believe it? You just gave him a compliment?
I give him a
Damn,
lot
that's
of
pretty good, man.
compliments,
That's pretty
yeah.
good.
One a day.
One compliment, 5 digs.
Usually it's a compliment sandwich, okay? So like there's an insult, a little compliment in the center, okay, and then another insult. That's his compliment sandwich, yeah.
But that's your magic, you guys, right? It's the energy you guys have where you have fun with it.
So marketing on a budget, you're pretty much just keep it simple, don't go overboard.
Marketing on a budget is own the database. Do not let social media companies own your database. What happens if they shut you off?
Yeah.
You're done.
You're done.
But if you build the database, right, and you own the database and you can market the database, that's fine. Let them shut me off.
And so would an email be owning the database?
Email helps, but text is better. Cell numbers are always the best.
Okay.
It's the fast way to communicate with somebody. I mean, look at your phone. Do you look at your text or emails more?
Neither one.
I
Either
have
one.
99.
Actually, my text. I look at my emails once a week.
Okay, so like I literally have a Yahoo. My email goes to my Yahoo account, and I've had it for
Forever.
probably like 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and it literally is stuck at 99,999 unread emails.
Wow.
Because there's so many emails. Like it says something Walmart.
Just so you know, pretty soon you'll be able to open up your browser and say, "Get rid of all the junk emails." It'll do it for you. It'll do it by itself.
Can't wait.
It's crazy how this technology is coming.
Yeah, like I said, it's also scary.
It is.
But like, see, and here's the problem, because if the zombie apocalypse does happen, I'm all right. All these young people aren't.
But that's why I think the smartest thing people can do is hire these young adults. Get some of these kids that are, I mean, I was with a kid, he's 14 years old. He runs a $100 million a year company. He's the CFO for $100 million because he understands Bitcoin and blockchain. He lives it every day.
Yeah, these
so
young
you
kids
want to hire some of these young kids as soon as you can to get them on. You can create a fun advisory board. You can create things where these kids from schools, from the colleges, even in town, you can hire interns.
That's why Big Balls is taking down the USAID right now.
Well, the USAID is a whole nother story. I think that whole thing is a slush fund.
Yeah.
It is one of the
yeah.
biggest
Even I
slush
can see
funds.
that.
I mean, the hypocrisy of like.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but I did hear that I think it was Clinton's kid was making $85 million or something like that.
Something like that.
crazy.
No, but I mean,
What-
I mean, the only bad thing they're saying it's a bad thing that they're auditing and stopping like the fraud. You see, anyone who's against that is probably involved in the fraud. The way
Somehow they are.
Okay, and the kid is 19 years old, and obviously he's an AC/DC fan, and that's why his name is Big Balls. Yeah,
And
the
it
name of the
works.
song. Yeah,
And it works.
It's great. I think it's
Didn't you see the
hilarious.
plane that had they had a plane now that actually has the kid on the plane with the big balls hanging off the back of the plane?
Well, no, the thing is like every kid has some
They
stupid
do.
online name.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, did you have a stupid I'm sure you had a really stupid AOL email address.
Just one? I had a lot of bad names, that's for sure.
But I got a question for you guys. What are you guys working on now that you're most excited about?
Well,
Kind of flip the script for a second.
Okay, so I'm doing the podcast. The podcast is really fun. And what else am I doing? Remarketing my bar, getting some more people in my bar. I'm doing, looks like me and Tracy over there are going to maybe have another show.
And you're doing more speaking now. I heard you're going to be
I'm
speaking
gonna
on
do
more
some
stages.
speaking and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm always busy. I'm spastic. I can't sit still. I go
Yeah.
fucking nuts if I sit still.
I'm the same way.
I'm loving the podcast, but I actually have a plan. Right now, I'm projected to do about $1 million to 1.2 in the first year, and then I have a plan by year 2 to scale that hopefully up to like about 8.5 million in the second year. But maybe we'll take 3 years because distribution chain is going to be like a big part of that, and hiring.
So it's even the same thing.
infrastructure.
Think about this in your Pokemon business, for example, right? How many people buy cards from you each month?
I do a minimum of 100 transactions 4 times a week.
Okay. So let's just say that there's 1,000 new customers a month or more.
Probably 40% of our new customers, maybe 50%.
Right. So
yeah.
now what are you doing with all that data of those new customers? Because here's the thing. That customer that buys from you today might want to buy something else tomorrow.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you capture all the information, keep in touch with them, right? And say, by the way, here's a special from American Express to get a credit card. Did you know that those credit card companies will pay you to send them credit card customers?
Well, I'm actually going to, sorry to jump off, but when we leave, I'm going to write this down, these couple websites you tell me,
Oh, yeah, I'll
and
get
not
it.
type it. That way when I write it, it gets
It's inked
into
in.
my brain.
Here's
Yeah.
here's one more thing you can do. You can actually delegate this stuff.
Have others do it.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Because
well, I actually
stop
do.
doing, guys. I teach this all the time. Stop doing things you suck at.
I have, so my
People,
Pokemon business,
I want to get better. No, you don't want to get better at stuff you suck at. You suck at it.
the
Stop
only
doing
thing
it.
I do is I'm on front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, for an hour and a half while I'm watching my normal podcast, I just like kind of print the labels and stuff and get it ready
But
for my
it's the same
shipper.
thing
I
too. When
don't
you
do
go on
anything else.
podcasts, give things away.
Yeah.
Right. So on this podcast, I'll give away my book. I'll give away a newsletter, all for free.
All right. Well,
Because
here you
once-
go. Text this link right now to get a free plane ride with Rick.
There you go. On the Beast.
We'll drop the number right here. Yeah?
No, you're not getting a foot. No.
I tried.
How about they could maybe get some kind of coupon to come shop at the store?
I like that.
Yeah.
That'd be probably a better idea.
Yeah. Come to my bar. Get one drink. I'll get 2 drinks for one, for the price of one.
That's a good one.
Okay. We also give.
All right, how about this? Come to my candy shop, spend $20 and get a free beer at Rick's bar.
It's really good for you.
Pretty good, right?
No.
No one buys just one beer.
Have you
though.
ever seen the movie called The Secret?
No, but is it similar to the book?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I know.
wrote a book called The Obvious.
Okay.
You gotta get off your ass and go to work. And
That's a myth. I'm a very hard worker. Rick will tell you that's probably the biggest myth
He is
about
a hard
me.
worker. Yeah.
I do not ever stop working.
yeah.
But
That's one of the reasons you're successful.
I'm up at 5:36.
But that's
every
also
morning.
one of the reasons you're successful.
Yeah.
You know, people can dream about shit all they want, but you got to go to work. You got to get off your ass.
Yeah, no, I put it into fruition. I make it
We
happen.
teach every company LPC, right? So leads, presentations, and customers.
Okay.
So a friend of mine that was a billionaire, he said 30 years ago, he said, if you want to build a great business, he said, see the people and tell the story. And I believe the same thing. You know, if you don't go out there and tell the story, no one's going to tell it for you.
Well, that's why Rick should give me a little percentage of the pawn shop because I've been telling his story for almost 20 years.
He told me that if you invest enough money, he could maybe make something like that possible. But you'd have to write a big check.
Rick has a lot of money. It would cost too much. I'm just trying to get like Weasel a free piece.
He said there's also opportunities in the bar next door.
Yeah, I'm not a good bartender. Rick does bartend actually up there sometimes.
Friday nights, I heard.
I go into my candy shop as well, but when I'm in the candy shop and I have a great line, I tell people, hey, Rick's going to be bartending tonight upstairs. If you like bad service and shitty drinks,
you're going to love this place.
You're going to love it. Exactly.
Just scan right here.
Okay, so
take out your phone and scan right.
so I
if
make
you
a
don't, if you don't do
I have a bar
crossover
next door,
marketing,
but I know, okay, it's like know what you're good at. Great thing my dad used to say: find out what you're not good at in this life, and don't do that.
That's right.
And no, so I do play around at my bar. I play bartender. Okay, I can make any drink where the name of the drink is the ingredients of the drink.
Ouch.
Like Jack and Coke,
easy.
vodka, soda, anything
Right.
like that. But if it's any real drink, the real bartenders take care of it.
Right.
So
Which is probably good.
What I'm getting from you is be personable.
Yes.
Drive your engagement to a text message, to repeat business.
To a database. So
To
think
a
about building
database.
build a community, right?
Build a
It could be an
community.
online community. You can even use a Facebook community when you first start. It's all free. See, the thing is that people confuse spending a lot of money with good marketing.
Okay, and so
It's not that. It's consistent marketing that creates a lot of value for your customer. And this is the thing, whether they ever buy from you or not, you don't care. Give them great value. I speak on stages all over the world. I give out 30 plus websites and tools. Whether they ever buy any of our courses or our programs or my books, I don't care. I'm going to make sure they leave with good value. And if they do, they'll tell someone that tells someone that tells someone. So, if you're going to really have a business, be so good you can never be ignored.
Okay,
All right,
I like
you got that?
Be so good I can never be ignored. And is there anything we're missing? Like, is there another thing that you drive into people when they're trying to build their business? When you're teaching them about marketing?
You don't find teams, you attract them.
Okay.
Quit trying to find
And
customers.
also be consistent. Consistent product.
I'm not asking you.
No,
Yeah, you
fine.
got to. You got to.
I am semi-successful.
I'm talking to someone who's uber successful.
You got to start with two things, and this is so critical: is that you got to have a great product or service, and you got to learn to sell. You got to learn to ask for the offer. And this is the mistake people make is they're nervous, and that's why I think there's a shortage of women speakers today. We need more women speakers on stages all over the world, and I really push that you belong in every room. See, a lot of times as kids, we're told you don't belong in this room. I'm telling you today, if you're listening today, you belong in every room. And
like
charity events are a great place to start. You guys are sponsoring a charity. I said, I'll take tickets for the table because I made so many of the best relationships by showing up for other people's success. We hosted Tucker Carlson last year. We hosted RFK Jr., right? We've hosted Tulsi. We've hosted Kristi Noem, right? At events that we've run and sponsored, been a part of. And I will tell you, by pouring into those relationships, it became a game changer. It's not just that you know people, it's that people know you.
All right. So I think a lot of what you said, I kind of have been doing a little bit in my own business
sounds
life,
like it.
but I really think you drove home some good points. And, I think a lot of people are going to really appreciate belonging in the same room. You belong
Yep.
in every room.
Yep.
And marketing doesn't have to be expensive, right? It has to be
Correct.
meaningful is what you're saying.
It's meaningful and it's memorable, but it also creates value whether they ever buy from you or not.
Where can people find you at? Social
So,
media? I bet you got
so
a text message.
I got a good text
Oh
message.
my
I'm
God,
all,
I knew
yeah.
it.
So if you want my book and the newsletter all for free, you text the word "win," and you text the word "win" to 26786.
All I do is win.
That's all I do is win,
no
baby.
matter
Win.
what.
Or I'm also on Instagram, Bill Walsh 360, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the same handle, Bill Walsh 360. Easy to find.
Well, I can tell you one. I've learned some good stuff from you
Cool.
today. It's been an amazing talk. But I'm going to tell you, before you get in your car, I am buying a phone number to do this,
My
Push a
son will
link.
help you out. No problem. We'll get it set up
Yeah,
for you.
it's like that.
And I would highly recommend you guys do the one right now if you're listening. Text the word "stars" right now to 26786. You'll get, I believe you might even get a drink at Rick's restaurant, but you'll definitely get a special coupon to come shopping at the store here.
All right. Well, if you love free stuff, make sure you hit that text message right now because I know you guys are all glued to your phone.
They're on it.
Well, Bill, I had an amazing talk. I don't know if
Likewise.
there's anything you'd like to add or if there's anything else you got going on.
I just would like to say thanks for all the work that you guys have done. Thanks for creating a great show. Thanks for creating so many great memories. I've probably watched at least 50 to 100 of your episodes or more.
So do you
So I've
feel a
always
little
been a big
different
fan.
about our relationship now that you've been here in the podcast?
I
with
think
us?
I love how you guys, your chemistry together is amazing.
Yeah, our
That's what I
chemistry's
love.
always been good. It's
You
good
know?
on TV, but it's a little bit
And
different.
we do the same thing that with my friends that are close to me, if we don't pick on our friends, then they're probably not real friends.
Well,
you know, if we pick on our friends, they know we love them, we care, and that's sometimes part of the way it is.
I really didn't pick him. He just got stuck to me like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if you pick on your friends a little bit, right? If you give them a hard time.
Well, I picked you.
He said
and
more
then
than
I
half
chose
his
to pick
life
on
he's
you.
been working on the show.
Yeah, I worked in this pawn shop over half my life.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
we've been on the air over 16 years. I'm 42. So you're a math guy. You can probably bust that percentage down, but it's most of
lot.
my life.
Yep.
And I've known Rick since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
My father passed away about 3 to 6 months before the show aired on TV. So that was a rough to deal with at the same time. And, you know, Rick has been there for me through that. He's been there for me before that. So as much crap as I give Rick, you know,
It's because you love him.
it's hard to count the amount of
Yeah.
people I love more than I love Rick. You know,
That's pretty
It's-
good.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
very
pretty
few.
amazing.
I agree. You're pretty amazing. And no one loves Rick more than Rick loves Rick except Chum.
Okay,
Believe it.
all right. Oh, you got a great story though. I mean,
Thank you.
like from BMX rider
Yeah.
to like
To opening up for President Trump on stage. How cool is that in front of 18,000 people? And that's what I said. If you
Pretty
can go from the
impressive.
south side of Chicago and then host, I mean, I don't know how many cabinet members and presidents that I've been able to share the stage with, but I thank God every day for the blessings in my life.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey, listen, anytime. Look forward to having you guys on our show. Look forward to having the podcast mansion.
This is Pawn After Dark.